All right, welcome in. It is episode 88 of the Three Guys Talking Ball podcast. It is a Des Bryant, Michael Irvin edition of the podcast here, and we got the trade deadline approaching. The training camp has started already. Unfortunately, seen some casualties, but we'll talk about NFL at a later date. The trade deadline is coming up. The Twins are hot. They are back, and with that trade deadline coming up, we said that when we had our preseason Twins interview, we were going to have Brandon back on to discuss, as they mirror positivity, some moves possibly to see what the Twins will be doing to get over the hump of winning a playoff game, winning a series, and winning it all. And after their start out of the All-Star break, I'm fully back on the wagon. Everybody else here is as well. And the Twins are going to win the World Series. It's that simple. And Brandon, he's got his Minneapolis Twins hat, or Miami Twins hat on, it looks like. I believe he's got softball at 8:15 on Monday as we record this, so he's kind enough to join us. So, Brandon, welcome on. And we want to start something. I got one question I got to get out of the way. Now, you're very active on Twitter. You're very good about interacting with fans, which sometimes is great, sometimes not so great. Now, what is your favorite, funniest interaction that you've had on Twitter whether it was actually like a fun conversation or one where it's like, I'm dumber for reading this?
Actually, first of all, it's great to be back. Just before the 2014 season, the Twins signed Phil Hughes to a contract. And I was at the press conference, and I asked what I thought was just a great question. I was like, hey, did you talk to Pelf about how different it's going to be to pitch in Minnesota compared to New York? Because Pelfrey had been with the Mets, Hughes had been with the Yankees. I thought, hey, cool, see what it's going to be like, the change of scenery in Minnesota compared to New York. And I thought this was just, again, like a really good question, and he just goes, no, I haven't. And I'm like, oh, you got to be kidding me. It's like 3-word answer. I'm just thinking to myself, okay. So I just kind of, compose myself and let it kind of go on. And this is in a big group setting, mind you. So everybody is right there as it happens. It's on TV, everything. And I'm just feeling stupid. So anyway, he plays that first full season with the Twins. And then randomly he tweets me, hey, I had a chance to talk to Pelf. It's different. And then he followed me right after that. So it was actually kind of funny. Like, I thought I was asking this great question, and he just gave me this flat answer. And we ended up being, really good, really close as far as, relationship between someone covering the team and a player. So it all worked out well. But, yeah, that got off to kind of a funny start.
Okay. That was, I feel like there's a lot of journalists who have that. I bet you there were a lot of them in the room sounded like it was a legit question. And
I thought
sometimes you deal with those people that just don't want to talk.
I don't think he understood the spirit of it, and I think that was the issue. And I'm not going to follow up with, it's going to be different, right? Because I assume when he signed, he knew that. But it was like, all right, I'll just tuck my tail between my legs and live to fight another day.
Okay. Now, back to the go fast forward here to the 2023 Twins. What's weird to think 2014 was 9 years ago.
Right.
But so now they're off to the 8-2 start, like I said, and they seem to be playing a lot better. They won a game they had no business winning yesterday, down 3-0 in the 9th, find a way to come back, win it in the 12th, and thought they were going to go to a 13th when they hit into a double play. But, what's been so far the biggest difference that you've seen from the first half? And granted, it is early in the second half of the season, but what improvements have you seen so far from the first half to the first 10 games of the second half of the season?
I think it became clear in the Chicago series that they were playing a tighter brand of baseball, where Chicago's kicking the ball all over the place and the tying run scores because the right fielder falls down and that sort of thing. It feels like they did, but whether it's just how it's gone or they've made adjustments or whatever, but they've tightened things up in terms of approach at the plate. It's still happening where they'll have ugly 2-0 swings. Christian Vasquez had one in particular late in the game yesterday that just made me want to bash my brains out. But they've had they've had a much more sound approach at the plate. They've played better defense, I feel like, and the bullpen was incredible. The Twins were the only bullpen to not allow a run over the weekend, and so that shows you where this bullpen has kind of come into shape. And what's even more impressive yet is that they don't have Brock Stewart right now. They don't have Caleb Thielbar right now. They're missing some guys. They can't trust Jorge Lopez right now. So it was an impressive weekend from the bullpen, and I feel like those aspects tightened up have made this a much better team.
Talking about the bullpen, Pagan last week and a half, 2 weeks. Dude has nails.
Yeah, the whole thing with him was keeping the ball in the ballpark, and he's done that for the most part. Now the scrutiny is higher because of how bad he was last year, and so he's had a couple of high-profile blow-ups. 420 in Boston is the one that I always come back to, just because that was so ugly. I think that was backing up Kenta Maeda, who had a really tough start that day too. So basically, he's had a couple of games where it's been like, oh man, here we go again. But for the most part, he's been nails. I mean, if you look at his numbers and you put him up against most other guys that are throwing the 6th or 7th inning for other teams, he's right there. And so as much as people don't want to admit it, he's been pretty dang good this year.
And, Brandon, I guess, Dylan mentioned the trade deadline's coming up. I just want to go back to a trade before the year, the Pablo Lopez, Luis Arraez trade. Pablo's win-loss record, it's not great, but he also doesn't have much good run support, and he's one of the best strikeout pitchers in the American League. I'm just curious, how in the organization do they feel about this trade halfway through the year, or a little over halfway through?
I think the emergence of Eddie Julien helps. Not that he had anything to do with the trade, or that they knew that if they were going to hand over the keys to him at second base eventually, that would make it look differently. But I think the fact that they're getting some offense out of second base right now, certainly not getting defense, but that wasn't going to be the case with Arraez anyway. I feel as though if you just assess the trade on how it's gone to this point, if you took either side and said you like that side better, I'd really have no problem with it. But I think that the arrow's going to point more up as time goes on, just because, we've seen Luis Arraez have stretches where he hits like 300 instead of 360, and he doesn't have the slugging percentage to hold that up to where his numbers look, world beating. I mean, if you look at his numbers last year, he won the batting title with an OPS under 800. Like, that's really hard to do. So he's not really a fit at second base. Miami is kind of punting defense there. At first base, he's not really a traditional producer like you'd like at that position. And if he becomes a DH, then all bets are off, because, the Twins are rolling with Byron Buxton at DH. It's just kind of how it goes sometimes. So I think the fact that they turned a guy who hits about 1 billion singles into somebody who I think is, based on Fangraphs WAR, he's a top 20 pitcher in baseball. Strikeout-wise, he's one of the 5 best in baseball. I think I still like it from the Twins side, and that's before you consider that they got Salas, the infield prospect, who knows what's going to happen there. And then Churio is basically a lottery ticket kid that's, in his late teens, early 20s. So I still think the Twins did fine with the trade. And I think the when we look back on it 5 years from now, it'll be like, okay, that was a pretty good trade. But I understand people being like attached to Arraez because he's a good dude, great clubhouse guy, a lot of fun. Who doesn't like a guy that spoils 1 billion 100-mile-an-hour fastballs against Edwin Diaz, right? But I think the Twins did well here because now they have room for Julien. When Polanco comes back, they're going to still have room for all these guys, hopefully. I think it was a good trade.
That brings me
Well,
right.
I know who doesn't like that, Brandon, is Frank the Tank. He does not like it when Edwin Diaz gets hit on.
Well, now he's not worried about it because Diaz is laid up for the rest of the year. God,
his enemy is the World Baseball Classic.
I think his enemy is everything baseball related.
Yeah.
There. You brought up Polanco, which brings me to the next one, but he's playing third base at St. Paul right now. What the heck is going to happen when Royce comes back too?
Yeah, a lot of times I say don't worry about it because these things work themselves out. They have who was it that went on this? Oh, Nick Gordon got hurt when they were going to have a roster crunch, and they've had a few different spots where it's like, oh, what's going to happen here, and then someone gets hurt. But if you're adding 2 players of the caliber of Polanco and Lewis and not subtracting anybody, and knock on wood, you don't want to subtract anybody, it's going to get tricky. It's going to get dicey. It might come down to, a tough decision of maybe sending Willie Castro down, which is tough because he's kind of been their do-it-all guy. But at the same time, they're not getting rid of Donovan Solano. I don't think they're going to cut Gallo or Kepler. And it gets tricky because 26-man rosters and options and 40-man stuff. The best thing I can say is it's a good problem to have, and hopefully it doesn't cause them to move on from a player that we like. And I'm glad it's not my decision. But at the same time, just imagine how much better this offense is with those two guys in the lineup. If you can still manage to get Byron Buxton in there and swinging better, Eddie Julien. I mean, I love the talent on this roster, like this 40-man roster, including injured guys. I think this team has so much talent. It's just a matter of getting them all on the field at the same time.
Yeah, and you mentioned Buxton, who was benched coming out of the All-Star break. He had 2 home runs on Friday. I didn't quite get to see how he did on Saturday and Sunday, but and this is maybe looking ahead, but it sounds like his days of playing the outfield are done. Is there any possibility that he would move over to right or left field, or is he stuck to a DH, or is he going to be playing somewhere like a first base or anything, or is he just a DH?
Well, I read in The Athletic recently that the Twins are believing the sun hasn't set, but it's kind of a fool me once, fool me twice kind of thing where, you can be hopeful, but at the same time, you can't sell tickets and win games with hope either. So we've seen a lot of really good center fielders move to the corners in their career. Torrey Hunter for a blast from the past, or if you want to go further back, Kirby Puckett did it too. So I don't think it would be unreasonable to put him in a corner and then maybe try Royce Lewis out there again, Austin Martin, who knows. But I think that it's certainly possible a corner could be in his wheelhouse. I just think, though, if the issue is playing outfield and not speed so much, moving to a corner doesn't make him any less likely to get hurt. So for me, it's center or bust. I don't really see him fitting at first base, and I think that's just due to his skill set and the fact that they're, Kirilov's first baseman, they've got some bodies there. So I'm hopeful that it may not be this year because this knee thing seems like it's a pretty big deal, but I'm still holding out hope against hope that he'll play center field again. But I understand it's a losing proposition if I were to put money on it someplace.
Yeah, well, and I mean, you may have had an argument too early or pre All-Star break when Kepler couldn't hit water out of a boat. Seems like he's been able to find a way to get out of that funk. What have you seen the difference between first half and second half so far from him?
He's hitting the ball hard, I think, a little more. And then there's some normalization. I mean, if you looked at his kind of like StatCast stuff, they're like, oh, he's hitting the ball hard, but he's not getting anything to show for it. And again, it doesn't matter how hard you hit it if it's on 54 bounces to second base, because those guys are going to pick it up and throw you out no matter what.
Or straight in the air to right field.
Right, exactly. So I think he's just kind of had some of that normalizing. He seems to take decent plate appearances. He doesn't get himself out in the sense of like Joey Gallo swinging through pitches. Sometimes, Michael A. Taylor has very bad plate discipline. I don't feel like when Kepler's up there, he's getting himself out necessarily. It's just that, he's been so average for so long that I think Twins fans are just kind of bored with him.
Okay.
Who's a realistic trade target? Like, I've honestly have not seen many names at all.
Well, it depends on the need that you see. We keep hearing people talk about someone who can hit lefties. We hear people talk about maybe a third baseman. To me, it comes down to probably a reliever or two, and then from there, you kind of reassess. Because while I like guys like Oliver Ortega has looked pretty good lately, Giovanni Moran has had his moments. I love Brock Stewart, but he's hurt right now. Caleb Thielbar, same deal. I think relief help is probably the best bet, and I don't think they're going to shoot all that high. We're not talking about like the Rangers trading for Aroldis Chapman or, the Twins targeting someone like David Bednar from the Pirates. I think it's going to be more along the lines of, they're going to find a guy who's got like secondary numbers who are good, but hasn't been pitching all that well on the big. If you look at the big picture, a guy like Michael Fulmer's ERA, you're like, what the heck?
I was just going to say that.
Yeah, you're like, this guy sucks. And then you look at how he's pitched over the last like 2 months, and it's like, okay, he can do some things. He's going to be cheap. He was cheap last year when he was pitching better. The Twins traded a prospect for him that hasn't done much in the Tigers system, and I like Brent Suter from the Rockies, who's another one. He's a funky lefty. Depending on how left-handed you want to be. I did have a list, though. I think it was like 7 or 8 decent relievers that I really liked. I really like Scott Barlow from the Royals. Again, his numbers are off a bit. I don't think they'd trade Carlos Hernandez, who throws the crap out of the ball, but I really like him. And then a guy I come back to a lot because of his age is David Robertson. I don't know how much the Mets could get for him, but he's been around forever. He's pitched some big games. He's pitched in both cities, both New York teams. So there's not much you're going to throw at him that he hasn't seen in terms of pressure and in terms of moments and that sort of thing. And he's like my age. Like he's literally 37, 38 years old. So they're not going to have to be like, oh, we're going to get your 3 best prospects or anything.
Is there a bit of like a bias there then?
Probably. Us old people like to stick together. That's why the early bird special and senior citizen centers exist. So.
Well, I heard 37's the new 20, Brandon. So you're good.
Tell my back that.
But yeah, well, you mentioned a lot of these. I feel like a lot of them that are on these trading blocks where you said their numbers, maybe it's just they need that change of scenery that kind of rejuvenate them. Minnesota's a beautiful place to visit in the summer. I think that's good for anybody's mental health.
And if you like to hunt, fish, whatever.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. And I guess we can go over to like the more broader MLB picture here. Who are some teams that are looking? You mentioned the Rangers looking to buy. Who are some other teams that are going to be looking to buy? I imagine the Guardians are also. Who are some teams that are going to be looking to buy at the deadline? And who are some teams that are going to be looking to sell?
Yeah, I feel like the Guardians are going to be in that rental market just because they don't pay players that much, and so they're going to want, guys that are impending free agents who either the other team will kick in some money for exchange for a better prospect or that sort of thing. But in the division, everybody else is going to sell. I mean, the White Sox have some interesting individual pieces depending on if you can convince yourself that Lance Lynn could improve or Joe Kelly or Reynaldo Lopez. I like Reynaldo Lopez quite a bit, but I don't think they're going to trade him in the division. But I'd be fine with Kelly, too. He was pumping 100 yesterday when he was in there, and that's never a bad thing. The tricky teams right now, though, that don't really know where they're selling or buying are the Mariners are one, who the Twins have in town this week. The Padres don't really know where they're going. The Cubs don't really have any idea where they're going. And the Mets still are trying to convince themselves that they have a chance in the wild card because, the Braves are running away with that thing. Otherwise, the gaps are pretty significant between the haves and the have-nots. The Cardinals seem to be like, oh, we're going to kind of ride this out and next year we'll contend. And I get that. They're a talented team that's played poorly this year. But sometimes, you can only delude yourself so much before you lose any value these guys had, and you're just kind of riding it out. So with that said, though, like the close division races are going to be the ones that are going to be the most fun to watch what teams do and if others do like reactionary moves. Like if the Twins were to trade for a couple really good relievers, do the Guardians think, oh, shoot, we need offense and go get, a bat or two, a cheap one, like a CJ Crone or something like that, who used to play for the Twins, or Heimer Candelario, who's on the block from the Nationals. I don't know what that's going to look like, but I'm eager to see because I love the trade deadline. It's like Christmas.
And when is that? Is that August 1st? I think I saw.
Five
Is it
days
the first?
or something?
It's the first or the second. It's usually July 31st, but they've kind of tweaked it back and forth a little bit here. I think it's the first or the second.
Okay, I'll take a look here.
Twins just took the lead.
Hey!
2-1.
Yeah.
Christian Vasquez jam shot single over first base.
He's been really good defensively, and I think people hate on his offense for good reason. But I still think they don't regret that signing at all.
No. Mm-mm.
Look at this pitching staff. Look at this pitching staff with these two guys behind the plate. The Twins are in perfect shape catching-wise, which is good because they really don't have anybody in the farm system at catcher. So they're set there, but I don't think they regret signing Vasquez one bit. And he seems like a really fun guy to have around. And, $10 million in today's game is really nothing.
I mean, Jefferson's hitting 272. Like, they're a pretty damn good 1-2 punch.
Jeffers is good defensively too, which was the knock on him coming out of college was he might be a bat first catcher, and then the glove actually developed more than the bat. I think the bat's catching up. I've been a big fan of him offensively, and I knew that he'd struggled, but that first little bit when he came up in, I think it was 2020, he had pretty good numbers, and it was like, okay, if he can be that guy, that's a really dang good catcher, and I think he can be that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the
1st,
trade deadline is August 1st at 6 Eastern time. So I believe that's what, Monday, Tuesday?
Next Tuesday.
It's Tuesday
Next
because
Tuesday.
it's National Night Out in my neighborhood, and I'm helping put it on. So I'm going to be watching my phone while I'm setting up tables and chairs like a good boy.
Gonna feel like Schefter in free agency or Woj.
The draft especially, you see Woj on the screen, and you're like, how's he getting these tweets out? It makes no sense. Unbelievable.
Yeah. He has to have these things just saved. He edits a name and it's just boom, boom, boom. Like,
I don't know if you guys have how much you guys have watched a quarterback on Netflix, but they like the thing with Kirk Cousins where he's got like the headband on where his screen goes dark when he's like not focused on what he's supposed to be watching. I bet you Woj has one of those where it just types out what his brain is thinking, and it just go, and that's how it's so fast here.
Is that considered AI?
It might be. I think so. I don't know. He's pretty in deep with China, so I mean I've heard their AI is a lot more advanced, so that could be what it is.
I feel like they're kind of on the cutting edge of technology. So
yeah. But you guys were mentioning catchers here, and I'm a little bit disappointed, Brandon, that your interview with AJ Pierzynski, where when he was for the White Sox, absolutely hated the guy, just awful, just when you looked at him, just a very punchable face.
Yep.
And then I've seen him a couple of times on TikTok, and then I listened to your podcast that you did with him, which is great. Go check it out. It is Twins Daily.
Locked on Twins.
Locked on Twins. There you go.
Twins Daily's Ted.
And
oh no,
we don't like Ted.
Nobody does. Why he's divorced.
And listening to it, I was like, he sounds like I kind of want to hang out and have a beer with him and listen to him tell stories, because that podcast could have gone on for probably in about 2 hours, and I would have been hanging on every word of it.
He was great. Doug Mankiewicz was great. I've really been lucky that guys have stepped in there, and AJ was great.
Any chance you get him to come out of retirement and catch?
I don't think so, but he did say, and I'm sure you heard, that he almost signed with the Twins that last time he was in free agency. He actually had committed to, I think it was Atlanta at the time. I know he played for Boston and Atlanta down the stretch. It might have been Boston, but Gardy called him.
I think it was Boston.
Yeah, it might have been Boston. I think Atlanta was at the tail end, and that was his last multi-year decent contract or whatever. And the Twins, Gardy called him a couple hours later. He's like, "Oh, dang, would have been great to have you," and it just didn't work out. But yeah, I think that's our best bet. I think he's really enjoying doing podcasts and TV right now. I can't blame him.
He's really good at it too.
He is. He is.
Who else have you had with interviews that you've really enjoyed and gotten to do, or do you have any on the bucket list that you'd want to sit and chat with?
Well, Matt Lawton was really good. Again, probably speaks more to people of my age. On other podcasts that I did, though, I had Tom Kelly, Buck Showalter, Paul Molitor. They were all great.
What were they like?
So Tom Kelly, my favorite one is Tom Kelly, because of all the podcasts I've ever done. If people don't know, we're doing a video chat, right? I don't mean to pull back the screen or anything, but with him, we had to call his landline. He did not have a cell phone, a computer, nothing.
That's amazing.
So, I'm on Skype, right? And phone calls are you got to bring up the dial pad and push the buttons, and it's almost like you're calling on one of those rotary phones from when I was a baby. And I'm like, cool, I got Tom Kelly's phone number, right? So I call, and it goes, if you're a solicitor, you must hang up right now. Otherwise, press 1 to stay on the line. And I'm like, oh, crap. How do I push a button again? Because the phone thing disappeared. And I was like scrambling to get it back. And I'm thinking, if I can't get on the phone with this guy, we're not going to get this interview. And that's a big missed opportunity. And luckily it worked out. We got him for the whole hour, and he was wonderful. But I was peeing my pants there for a second that we might not get him because the old man doesn't even have a cell phone.
That's incredible.
Buck was great too. Buck was great. He was about 2 or 3 weeks from getting hired by the Mets. But again, because my co-host played for him, that was an easy in. So anytime we found a guy who had played with this guy or anybody who knew him, it was oh yeah, I'd love to. You know, we had, before we kind of disbanded, we wanted to get like Todd Stottlemyre and a few other guys from that era. And I'd love to start it again, but let me tell you, it's so much fun talking to these guys because they have so much knowledge and experience.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if you've ever heard of like the Lost Ballparks podcast, where he gets it started out as a Facebook page where he'll talk about old stadiums, and now he's gotten some really good guests on, and listening to them tell stories about like the old days of the different clubhouses and how people acted. Those stories are incredible.
Well, so I went to Wrigley Field for the first time in 2018, and it was stunning to me, the difference between the visiting clubhouse and the home clubhouse. So they had remodeled one off season, and they were going to do the next one the next. Well, of course you do the home one first, right? So like each locker has like these neon lights down the side, and there's a bar in the middle where you can go hang out, like not bar to drink, but like, you know, a bar where you can get your food and whatever. And then I go to the visitor one, and it's like the size of my truck here, and it's everybody's shoehorned in, sitting on top of each other, and you have to go down a walkway, cut across in this little corridor, and then go across a catwalk, and then you're in this little closet where 25 at the time Twins had to squeeze in. I can't imagine what September back then was like when you could have like 35 guys. It was so tight. Like Logan Morrison was like stepping on me going past because they were watching the like some soccer, like the World Cup or something. It was crazy.
Have you ever been in the Metrodome clubhouses at all?
No, I only the press box. I got to be in the press box, the baseball press box, but never the clubhouses, which bums me out because the steps, wasn't it like 100 steps or something crazy? I wish I would have gotten to see that.
Yeah, because I remember when we got to tour it, they only took us into the Vikings locker room, but they talked about how the visitors always would complain was because it was just so jam-packed, crammed, and I don't know what the Twins was like, but the Vikings one was nothing special, but I feel like the Twins would have had to been a little bit better because they spent a lot more time in there.
It was
but
pretty
they
small,
talked
though.
about how the visitors. What's that?
It was pretty small. I know it was small. I was told that because some of the clubbies they had when I was covering in person had been there. So I know it was small, but no frills, but it was decent, I think.
Okay. But they talked about how they'd always complain, and then I guess they would just hang up because it's like, yeah, you're the visitors. We don't care. You're not supposed to be comfortable.
Exactly. You're here for 3 days.
I would like to see that go back for all sports. That's part about and also when you are on the road, embracing being on the road and embracing that little tiny cram spot and saying when you win, give them the double middle fingers, saying, yeah, it don't matter.
Freedom Rockets.
Anytime, any place, anywhere. So, I know you got softball here, so we'll let you go. Last question: is there any chance that the Twins are going to be trading for Shohei,
No.
or do you see him getting traded at all? I don't see it, but
I think Artie Moreno, the team's owner, has deluded himself into thinking that they can do something this year. One of my favorite all-time memes, and I'll leave you with this, is a picture of Stephen Curry and Mike Trout shaking hands with the caption, "Congrats on winning 70 games last year, bro," and the other one says, "You too." I just feel like they're doomed as long as – it's so weird because if you had Ohtani and Trout on an NBA team, like two players that good, you're winning the title every year, right? Or you're in the conference finals. In the NFL, even with all those players, if you have the best quarterback and receiver, you can hang. You know, it's not going to be maybe it's like Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase or that sort of thing. But for whatever reason, they just have not gotten over that hump. And the funny thing is, that doesn't mean there's a better way to spend money than on superstars. It just means that they can't keep pitching healthy. They can't keep anybody healthy. I mean, for crying out loud, Gio Urshela, who was on the Twins last year, broke his, I think
His
he fractured
kneecap.
his pelvis.
Oh, his pelvis. That's right.
Yeah, I mean, this team's cursed. It's the opposite of Angels in the outfield.
Yeah. Well, I mean, how many games do you see on the ESPN ticker where it's Mike Trout 3 for 4 with a home run, Shohei Ohtani 3 for 4 with a home run, Angels lose 3-2.
Yep, or 8-4, 8-2. It's horrible, unbelievable.
But well, Brandon, good luck tonight. How's the softball season going?
I've been playing better defensively than offensively, which is unusual, but the swings.
What position do you play?
You're Max Kepler.
I play everywhere. I'm a lefty, but I like playing third base. I play first base on the Rogers team here, but in St. Michael, Albertville, I play at third. So wherever. I'm a lefty, but I love playing anywhere.
Okay, gotcha. How's the team playing?
Good. I think we're
good.
12-8 or 12-6, something like that. Pretty good season so far.
Ooh. You guys are your team's doing better than us. Before we had a tournament a couple of weeks back, and before going in, we could not hit. We hadn't won 2 games in a row all year. We just miserable play. We come into the tournament, decide to hit the lights out of the ball. We ended up taking second. We lost in the championship game 35-25.
Wow.
and then last week when we played our regular Tuesday night league, back to normal. Couldn't hit water if we fell out of a boat.
Isn't that funny though? How it ebbs and flows so much. You're like, these are the same guys. This is the same team, and at the same time, it's just like, nope. Consistent effort is not a thing in this kind of league, and it's fun. It's fun to hang out with the boys, but let me tell you, winning is fun too.
Yeah, well, I've always I'm the manager too, so I've always joked that after games, I told one of my buddies is we should do a mock press conference just as a joke. I think that would maybe tomorrow night I might have to do that for the last regular season game. But
I will
Brandon,
promote it.
Thank you again. Thank you again. We appreciate it. We're gonna hopefully have you on giving us a playoff preview for the Twins. So thank you. Good luck tonight.
Anytime, boys. Be good.
See you later, man.
You too.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks again to Brandon. That was a good interview. There's always some type of chaos every time. This is the 3rd time he's come on now, so he's actually tied.
2 out of his 3
tied
have
at
been
the
softball.
have been at softball. The other one, I was having technical issues where my mixer did not want to connect. Luckily, we made it through that, and then that also time his dog decided to have an absolute panic attack and start barking like crazy.
Good thing Boone's sleeping right now.
Yeah.
Kirk's vetting a 12-year-old dog.
We got a good boy for one at Ethan's place.
Yes.
Yep. And the Twins have
good.
Oh. What did he get into some food he shouldn't have? Did he
well, yeah, I told you anybody? He ate all that chocolate. They ready to take him $900 vet bill later, and then he likes to get in the garbage every single day. So yeah, it's going great.
Oh.
He's
the joys of having a dog. But you love him.
Oh yeah, he's my buddy.
So all right, fellas. Well, guys, now the Twins, they're playing well. Let's knock on wood. Hopefully that keeps it going. Their gut mirror positivity says they are going to keep it going. And I did something for the first time this weekend is I grilled a tomahawk steak. And it was probably the best steak I've ever had. You guys saw the pictures of it. I'm kind of kicking myself that I didn't take a picture of it, but I finally was able to get good grill marks on both sides. I figured out the key is what you do is you just crank your grill up to about 600 degrees and about 30 seconds one side, 30 seconds the other, and then you flip it and do the same thing. You get those really good grill marks, and it's still pink center here. I just reverse seared it at 225 until it got to about and then let it set for about 15 minutes, and it was chef's kiss.
Not bad.
Did you get a little Salt Bay action afterwards when you were done with your final masterpiece?
I did not do any of the Salt Bay. No, I put butter. I put about 2 tablespoons of butter on it while it was resting for those 15 minutes. I've also seen, if I do it again, I'm thinking maybe I might like make some compound butter. Have you guys seen that or made that before? And then I've also seen a lot of it too. What they do is people will like dip it like in like some different. I saw a guy use like wash your sister sauce, some type of thing, and then another one with butter. But I used a mix of bacon up and butter as a binder, and then salt and pepper, and then the Jack Stack everything seasoning, which is the best way to make a steak too. Now I figured out is if you're grilling it, you get the butter and the bacon up as a binder, salt and pepper, and then the Jack Stack everything seasoning. Incredible.
Not bad.
Seems like you got this all dialed in.
I do. Now have you Grant, have you either of you guys made a tomahawk before?
I've not.
No.
I know it looks cool, but it's not worth it to have that whole bone. Like, if anything, just buy a bone-in cowboy, ribeye. It's the same thing. You don't have 2 feet of bone that you got to deal with that you're just wasting.
Yeah.
Well,
you could give it to the dog.
It's true. I mean, they look cool. Well, but no, it's not for me. And also, I'm not paying $55 for a steak. I'm just not doing it.
Get it at Walmart. It was only $35.
I don't even know where the nearest Walmart is to me.
Oh,
Robbinsdale.
maybe Tart.
Yeah, and I'm not going there. Oh yeah,
no, Brooklyn Center. Sorry, no, they closed that one.
I ain't going there. I went there once. I had to grab.
I think they closed that one actually.
Yeah, I was gonna say I did not feel safe.
No.
So definitely not going back to that Walmart ever again.
No.
Well, that's all I have here. So
that sucks.
You can only cook with the ingredients you're given.
This is true.
True. You're only given a Walmart. What do you do?
And then I played 45 holes of golf.
Jeez, that's a lot.
Yeah, that is a lot of golf.
It was. So Saturday I played 18, and then as I'm coming home, I knew it was incredibly slow. It was terrible. And as I'm coming home, buddy calls me. He's like, "What are you doing tonight?" I was like, "Nothing. I ain't got nothing planned." He's like, "Well, I'm going out at 6:30 to do 9. You want to come with?" Yeah, what the hell? Why not? So went and did that.
Mm-hmm.
And then 8 o'clock on Sunday went and played, and that was my best round of the day. But still, it was not a. Still got off to a rough start. Back-to-back triple on Sunday, and a double-triple on Saturday, and then a triple-double Saturday night. But after that, I played well.
2 holes to start your round like that will make you want to quit.
Yeah, I had to hit out of the sand on Sunday. I had hit it once, didn't get out. Tried to hit it again, didn't get out again. Chucked my sand wedge down, threw it up on the green about a good arm wedge, about a putter's length to for triple bogey.
Oh, there you go.
Uh-huh.
We went on Friday night, and there's a hole. We only went 9 holes, but I played this course once. This hole's like way up high. You have like a steep drop off the way you hit it. There's a little creek you have to carry it about 200 to get it over it. And like I know last time I just went right. I went iron and just hit it behind the creek. I was like a little wuss 3 years ago, but I also wasn't as good as I am now, or somehow I've gotten better. I don't know how. But to Friday, I was like, F it. Like, why the hell not go for it? I absolutely rip this drive. Goes over the trees. It's cutting towards the green. I'm like, okay, that'll be like 20, 30 yards short. It's like 285, I think, total the hole is. Start looking around for it. I'm like, God damn it, I don't see this ball anywhere. All of a sudden, like the people ahead of us are getting off the green. I look in the bunker just to the left of the green. This ball is pin high, sitting in the bunker.
Oh.
Just absolutely piss missiled this thing. Still got a par, but you know what? It's okay. Like,
hey, anytime you can get a par out of a sand shot, it's always good. It was
probably the best shot of my life, easily.
You know, that's
Oh wow! And now we lost Grant. Oh,
nothing to be
Wow.
I don't know where he is. Looks like Raleigh came in and brought the peanut butter jar.
Grant
Well,
forgot
good thing
to
he's
pay
not
the
on the
internet.
air right now.
Grant forgot to pay the internet. Hello?
Yeah,
It's me.
I can hear him, but so Ethan, have you? How many times have you gone over to Canterbury to go to the horse race? Oh,
Twice.
What was that?
twice now.
Once with Grant
You won
on
anything
New
yet?
Year's. And then I guess Grant came
4th
with
of
us
July?
on Thursday. 4th of July. Sorry, not New Year's. Yeah, 4th of July. No, I did not. I did not actually win any. Or I won the first one I bet on 4th of July. I did a nice win show, so first and third, got that right. Oh, he's gone again. But then
No.
on Thursday, I only had like $1.95, and I didn't bring cash to like put in the machine or anything. So I was just doing like super exacta or superfecta, which is like you get the top 4, or an exacta, which you get the top 2, like all this stuff. Like you have to get it exactly right. It's not where you do like a win show. Say you pick one horse you put first, and they get third, but then the third place gets first, like vice versa. You win that. This one you don't, and my horses finished second and first instead of first and second, so I lost that.
Oh,
Otherwise I would have won.
rough.
I think it was like $40 or something like that. Like you only bet 20 cents, but the odds are so crappy that you can win good money off it and play for a while.
Yeah, okay.
I think I made
Gotcha.
it 5 out of 6 races at with $1.95.
Ooh, wow.
Like, I did pretty well. I mean, I didn't win any, but I came close.
Okay, gotcha. When are you going back next?
I don't know. Haven't decided yet. I just Randy Hauser comes here at the end of I think mid-August. I just got an email. I get 20% off for living here, so maybe we'll go see some Randy Hauser.
Oh, not
I
bad.
was going Saturday, but I think we're gonna head to the 3M Open instead. I guess is what we decided.
Oh,
tonight.
you are going. Oh, sweet. I'm jealous.
Me and Hannah are gonna go. So yeah, it's gonna be a good time.
Don't ask Sergio what Saturdays are for.
I don't
I've
know
heard
if
that
he's
doesn't
playing
end
this
well.
year. I did not see him on the on the list.
Okay.
But, I can go hang out with
one of
Sam
these years we'll get back.
JT's my guy, so I'll bring him some good vibes.
Are you gonna bring him a tampon?
No. We're doing the cup.
Oh. All right. Yeah, but I didn't get to watch any of the British Open at all. But Harman pretty much took care of business. There wasn't much of a battle down the line, but
I was like texting Brock a little bit on Sunday. I was like, I've never seen somebody in such shitty conditions just so calm and hit like insane shots. Like I shouldn't say insane. They weren't great by any means, but they were like, he was 58 out of 59 within 10 feet putting this weekend. Like,
jeez,
that's insane. That is absolutely asinine.
Can you hear me? Am I back or no?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you're back.
Oh, okay. Well, I think I saw he had like 79 putts this weekend, or
just stupid.
It was a ridiculous number, where it was the lowest in a major in like 5 years. With the amount
he was a stud. He put it like anywhere between 8
That's
to
like 19
17 feet.
That's like 20 putts around.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Oh yeah, he was stupid good. 58 of 59 within 10 feet.
Brother was just dialed in.
You can't beat that.
Well, and especially after Rahm went 63 on Saturday and still didn't put a dent in it.
Said that was the best round of his life.
Yeah, and he still lost by 5.
Yeah, he was just so calm and collective. Like there was nothing was going to beat him that day.
When it's your day.
Yeah, and that wraps up all the majors for the year. Rory's going on year 10 without winning one, but he's more worried about the what did he say? He's more focused on winning the FedEx Cup here in a couple of weeks. And then it kind of enters a little bit of an interesting off season of sorts for golf with the PGA and LIV merger. See what's going to happen there as far as how everything goes. But with that, we'll wrap up here and we'll go over to Curveball of the Week, which I have, and I've been simmering on this one for a while here. I don't know how I thought of this. I was laying in bed one night, I couldn't sleep, and I, for some reason, thinking of curveball of the week questions, and I came across this one now. So, hypothetically, you guys are on The Bachelor, and it's the point of the season where you take your date or whatever. I'm not a Bachelor expert. I'm not sure how it works, but when they go to the Bachelor's hometown, what would be the night look like for you guys in your guys' hometown? So Ethan, Wilmer, Grant, Mankato, me, Dickinson. How would your guys' night go? Start with dinner, and then what you're doing after, which bars, and then what a typical night in your hometown looks like.
I guess first you're going to take them to Cheers out in Raymond because that's the best bar ever. They have the old what do you want to call it? Where you put the money in to play songs, you can control it.
Jukebox.
Yes, a jukebox. I can't remember. There's like a way you can do it on your phone and stuff now too.
Touch tunes. Touch tunes.
That's what I'm talking about. So you do some touch tunes for a while. Get a nice chicken strip melt. Just the classic there. Then you take them out to Green Lake, out in Spicer, and it's a 30-minute drive, but that's okay. It's all in the same area. And then you end the night at Zorba's because Zorba's on the lake is where you go to not remember things. So it'd be perfect.
All right, there you go.
Nothing beats it.
Grant?
No, not at all. Well, it's kind of fitting that I'm wearing a hat with a buffalo on in Mankato. You got to start out when you go. If we're really getting in like what they do on The Bachelor, you got to go to Minneopa State Park and you got to see the wild buffalo. You got to see the herd of the buffalo. Go out to the park, go to the waterfalls, make it romantic, blah, 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 blah. You got to do it for the cameras. You got to do it for ABC. And then probably you'd go to a restaurant downtown called Number 4. It's owned by a family. They own 5 or 6 restaurants, Mankato, and then some diamond stores like that. And you're already downtown. And then Ethan would know, once you leave Number 4, you got to go to Rounders. You got to go to the Underground for 2 for 1.
Oh, all the time. Yes.
You go to from what is it like? I can't 9 to 11. I think it's 2 for 1s at the Underground. So you go there. And then after that, you probably go just down the block to Blue Bricks, where you're going to go on a patio, have a couple beers, play some pool inside, and just kind of shoot the shit. And then if you want to possibly wake up with a rash, then you end the night at Rounders. Rounders or South Street?
Both good options.
Yes.
Ending the night with a rash. Waking up with a rash. Sounds fun. That should be on a sign when you enter Mankato.
Wake up with a rash.
Leave with a rash. Yep.
Yeah.
But now we're back. We're to me, which is Dickinson, North Dakota. So you're starting the night out. You're going to El Sombrero Mexican restaurant. They have, and you get what's called a P5, which is chicken, rice. You can get it with veggies. I usually do because you got to be somewhat healthy before you dump a bunch of queso over it all. And then with you get like 3 tortillas you can have. Yep. And then you have a couple of margaritas there. And then after that, then you're going, which it's changed in about the span of about 5 years, probably about 2 or 3 years ago, is right around COVID is when everything you saw a turn where if you would have asked me in 2019, it would have been the Spur. But now everyone's going to be going to Neighbors, which in the end, it's the same owner, so they're still making good amount of money. And you go there, you hang out there, you have some popcorn. Maybe if the simulator's open, you rent out the golf simulator there, play there, hang out, and have some popcorn. And then after Neighbors, when it's about 10:30, 11, you get in the lift, and then you head over to Army's West, which you guys don't know what Army's West is, but it is a trashier OB.
Oh, boy. That's hard to
and they
do.
got a dance floor. You know, a lot of the times, and now it's become a new hobby of mine where I just enjoy going to people watch because I spent my fair amount of time there being watched by people. Now I just kind of go there. Now I go there with just, where I'm unable to drive a car, but I'm still in full capabilities of my body, and I know my name and can form coherent sentences.
For the most part.
But, to get the full Dickinson experience, you got to go there borderline blacked out, end up on the dance floor, and then after bars close at about 1, try to get out of there they turn the lights on about 12:30, maybe request an Uber at 12:15. It's really slow in Dickinson, so you might be waiting a while, and you're getting that lift, and you're going to Paragon, the bowling alley, which has incredible food. Never had a bad meal there, drunk or sober. You're getting some mac and cheese bites and whatever entree of your choice. You're dipping it in ranch, and then you're going home and calling it a night at about 2:00 in the morning.
That is quite the night.
I'm not gonna lie, I did not know Dickinson had that much stuff.
Oh, we do. We make fun, and if not, in the summer, going about 30 miles west, going over to Medora is a good choice. Go see the musical. Similar to Grant, you can go through Theodore Roosevelt National Park, go see some buffalo, some prairie dogs, occasional deer, and then go eat there, go to the musical, watch some fireworks, or go up to the lake and hang out there, do lake stuff. But that would be the night. A night in Dickinson is Elsom, Neighbors, Armies, Paragon. I should make shirts that say that.
After hearing that, I got to change mine up. Screw number 4. You got to go to Mazatlan and Mankato. Got to get the Mexican food.
Okay.
They have the pollo asada, 3 tortillas, chicken, steak, fajitas, rice, refried beans, get a couple margaritas. You can't beat it. So got to go to Mazatlan for dinner. Best Mexican food in Mankato. And there's about 20 different Mexican places, so it's actually good.
Okay, there you go. So whenever we make it to Mankato, I'm fully expecting, and Wilmer for that matter, Southwest Minnesota area, because you do go into Raymond a little bit.
Oh yeah.
So
you got to go to Cheers.
When we go, that is the I'm really looking forward to getting the full Mankato and Southwest Minnesota experience.
I'm not gonna lie.
Sure.
We had Ethan's is totally the best just because of Zorba's.
Oh yeah, Zorba's
is good.
That's just the trump card on everything. It's like, hey, we're on the lake, pizza, good looking women, alcohol, life is good.
Yeah.
Could it get better than that?
Their pizza's good. Everything else there, food wise, is trash. But the pizza's good.
There you go. It's a win.
So good thing they're known for their pizza then.
There you go.
Yeah. And we're done within an hour too. Wow. We that wraps up episode 88 of the Three Guys Talking Ball podcast. We'll have the segments of the show out on Friday. Go subscribe on YouTube, Three Guys Talking Ball podcast, Facebook as well as the same name, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok is 3GTB podcast. Go like, subscribe, follow us there. We'll be posting content there as well. And with that, we'll talk to you next time.